So I recently decided to start making some videos about Ocarina and my ocarinas and my ocarina playing. Partly because it's the instrument I've actually been playing the longest since 2002. And seriously, too, yeah, I did get exposed to the fact that there's something called an ocarina through the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. But unlike the majority of people, I didn't get an ocarina because I wanted to play the songs from the video game. I actually saw it as a serious instrument that, I just saw it as just like another kind of flute. And with that in mind, and the fact that I just love music in general, it actually really helped me. And I just began to. The YouTube wasn't what it was back then. You didn't have all these. You got an ocarina, you were kind of on your own. Unless you ran into some physical people who happened to play the instrument too. I hadn't, so what I literally did, any kind of music, I would try to make the ocarina work in it. Put frequently wear headphones and stuff, or when I didn't have headphones on, I'd take it with me wherever I went, and so I was off to the side, and so I'd literally just play any song I knew in my head. I would try to play on the ocarina. Well, the great thing about the ocarina is its intonation. It's fully chromatic. So, what was really cool is that you could, it's like a string on a cello, where it isn't just in the key of, like, you got, basically, a cello is fretless. It's like taking a guitar and taking away the little bars that you push the strings between. If you take away those bars, you can basically just like run your finger up gradually along the neck, and you can hit literally any note that's in the string. Well, the ocarina basically is the flute version of that. You can hit any note that's basically in the key of alto C or whatever key it's in. Whereas with typical cylindrical flute or even stuff like Irish whistle, um, you have like a flute or an Irish whistle in the key of a cylindrical flute. You're stuck with only, even if you try to half hole or even blow less or blow more on a certain note, you're not going to get a like you are with the ocarina. You're just going to get a worse sounding version of the same note. Whereas with ocarina, when you blow more or less and you combine fingering with it, you get that offers a tremendous musical advantage. So essentially, um, because there's plenty of music that's in like the, say it's in the key of C, and or whatever, say it's in the key of C, but then like it starts hitting the every other notes. How to say it? It starts hitting other notes that aren't hold on the cylindrical flute or additional holes other than the six main ones. Well, then you're stuck. You can't hit those notes. With the ocarina, you're not stuck. You can hit those notes, all the sharps and the flats. So it's the equivalent of taking all the fret bars off of the neck of a guitar. But also therein lies a problem, not that the instrument has problems, but for you personally, because then you have to, essentially it's actually harder in a sense than playing a cylindrical flute, because not only does your fingering have to be just right, but also your breathing has to be just about has to be perfect too. Whereas with cylindrical flutes and stuff, you can breathe not quite so perfect and still get a good sounding note. like if you want to hit the note of D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and you release the sound holes that will equal up to that note. If you blow a little bit like a little bit down like that, the note will still basically, if enough air is going into it, or just in almost enough air, it will still play that note. Whereas with ocarina, the pitch will go ooh, the intonation will drop. So yeah, but sorry about that. So yeah, actually, the ocarina breathing wise is actually harder than in its own way. I mean, each the whistle and the silver, the concert flute, each have their own difficulties. But ocarina is very unique in that it's a little more difficult in that getting those notes to sound just right. So if you have really fast music like Celtic music, it's even more difficult. Like on within like within 5 years, I've been able to use the Irish whistle and learn chieftain's music on there and be able to play fast. Whereas with the ocarina trying to play some of the same songs I know on the whistle, it's like because of the intonation is essentially inaccurate. It's like it's harder actually. Even though there's other music on the ocarina that I can do much better than on the penny whistle or the or a concert flute. I will say also too that still my instrument is ocarina because and why I love it so much is it's because it's the most accessible, practical. I mean, not practical. Do I mean practical? Convenient and accessible flute because of just how much music I can play on a single ocarina instead of having to have like 7 different ocarinas in different keys, like have an ocarina in the key of A, then B, then C, then D, then E, then F, then G, like you have to with like penny whistle or typical cylindrical flutes. And with those ones, you can't necessarily hit every sharp and flat either. Whereas with ocarina, you can, even though it's in the key of alto C, it can still hit parts of D, E, F, and G, and A, B, C. It will still be able to play some of those octaves, not octaves, keys. Whereas with the penny whistle, you got it for like a key that for that song that's in the key of D, you need a D whistle. You try the C whistle, and you're not really going to be able to do it. It's not going to. You may be able to hit a couple notes, but the rest of the holes that you uncover are not going to sound right. So you got to switch over to an entirely different whistle, entirely different instrument that was separately made. But ocarina also its size too, and the fact that it can actually has the same decimal. Some ocarinas can actually have the same decimal volume of sound as a penny whistle. So it's in that sense, this can technically like see how big it is? That can fit in my pocket. Whereas if I try to fit an Irish whistle or a recorder or a concert flute, you have to have a case or something for it. And if it was sticking out of my pocket, if I bent over, it would start gouging me in my ribs. This, which that's the size of it, see, fits in my hand. I can put that in my pocket. So it's actually the most practical flute too, especially because they make some from PVC plastics that have a rich, smooth tone and resonant tone to them. So it's like, and you could accidentally drop it and it won't break. So it's the 3 things in common. The most important thing is that it's, what did I say before? Convenient? I think convenient was one. Shoot, I forgot. What did I say? I know one was practical. Hmm. I don't know, but in a sense, what I said before with three main points is that it's basically the best quick draw instrument. Even a guitar, I love the guitar. It's so versatile. But it's you gotta have space for it. You know, there's a reason why they mass-produced ocarinas during the World War, because a soldier could try to take a guitar with him into the war. I don't know about that one, but managed, but some ingenuity. Make a little flute. Shrink down a flute. Make it pocket size. One that's fully chromatic that can hit every sharp and flat and main note. So that basically makes so much pop music and just common music that people know you can play, and make it able to fit in a soldier's a pocket, and make it out of a plastic like the ones in the war were made of polycarbonate. I've actually sat on I have a polycarbonate ocarina. I've sat on it before and it didn't break. Now, if you put a knife on it and jam the knife into it, yeah, of course, it's going to probably break it. But actually, just normal pressure and stuff, that thing ain't breaking. You can also, because it's made of plastic and it's highly durable, if it gets dirty and stuff, put it in the water, swish it around in the water, tap it, get the water out, blow the water out, and you're good to go. Say like a cylindrical flute you got to piece together, or a penny whistle, you gotta have something to jam up there and a brush or something. You need something fancy to clean up. The ocarina, you can just stick in the water, shake it around, tap out all the water, and you're good to go. So it's actually the most practical instrument ever. It's portable, it's fully chromatic. It's also, you can take it out super fast and start playing. You don't have to have a big space. You could be in a 2 foot, let's say you're squished inside of a doorway. There's still plenty of space to play. So it's great for confined spaces. Also, the two volumes I've talked about in previous videos. One volume's at the decimal of a penny whistle. The other volume is basically super loud. It rivals bagpipes. So, in a big venue, like a church or something like that, and there's music going, you can take out your ocarina, play, and it will actually harmonize. I've done it multiple times. So, yeah, that's the reason why the ocarina, it's my instrument, and I love it so much. It's one of the reasons why I've been playing since 2002. Actually, it's caused me to get into other instruments too, but as a whole, still my first love. And they sound so beautiful too. So yeah, ocarina, convenient. It's convenient, practical, and you can play so much music on it. And they can be made from plastics and sound great. And so they're shock resistant, very hard to break. And you can take them out super fast if you want to play along to a song, and they have a 2 volumes. So if you say you rent in a townhouse complex or apartments, and they forbid against loud instruments, well, the ocarina is both loud and not loud. The overtone volume, which is the first volume, it's basically at the volume of a penny whistle. Then, if you're in a loud environment, you use that second volume, which I call it the projecting volume. You got everything you need, all inside a handheld. So basically, you have a flute that says that you can play quietly, and then you can play loudly, and basically, it's like it has its own built-in amplifier. That is the coolest thing ever. An instrument that doesn't use electricity, but basically has its own built-in amplifier. That is cool. I mean, not even the guitar necessarily has that. I mean, acoustic, I mean, it's basically, but then again, in its own way, I think the guitar is like that. Because you can play softly and then you can play loudly. So yeah, the guitar is another one that is completely ingenious. It's got a bunch of parts to it though. Whereas with the ocarina, it's just one solid piece. Technically, it's two in a sense that they had to basically, you know, piece it together because to have the chamber inside be carved out, long story short, but it's from one piece of plastic or one piece of ceramic or wood, or they even make some ocarinas out of metal. Which I'm curious if I could actually find a budget friendly metal ocarina. That would be awesome. But yeah, it's interesting. Completely ingenious flute. It's got its own built-in amplifier. Yeah, don't have to pay the electric bill to have a super loud sound. You just blow harder. Even cylindrical flutes don't have that advantage. They go into the next octave. They go on at higher though, but concert flute can't do that. Penny whistle can't do that. Recorder can't do that. So I think that's pretty amazing. It's a completely ingenious flute.